Welcome to Leading Ladies of Rio Rancho, brought to you by the Rio Rancho Observer. During this series, we will invite business and community leaders from Rio Rancho and its surrounding communities in Sandoval County for conversations on what they do, why they do it, and the issues they face. I'm your host, Tracy Goldeisen, editor of the Rio Rancho Observer. Welcome. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Leading Ladies of Rio Rancho. Today's guest is Dr. Sue Cleveland, Superintendent of Rio Rancho Public Schools. Dr. Cleveland, thank you so much for coming in and speaking with us today. Do you want to just take a moment and introduce yourself to those in our audience who might not know you?
Yes, I'm the superintendent of the Rio Rancho School District, and I've been there since the beginning of the district, and that's kind of a rare thing, but it has been a wonderful experience, a wonderful journey, and it's been just wonderful to see the district start and grow and prosper. And I have seen every single student graduate from the Rio Rancho Public School District, and so that's been a real honor.
Okay. Let's go back to the beginning. What made you want to get into education, and how did you get your start in the field?
It's interesting. I thought about a couple of other things. I really thought very seriously about it. And I was interested in the Foreign Service and thought about a couple of other things. But we had a lot of teachers in my family. And the more I thought about just, that really I enjoyed working with students and I really liked making a difference. And I thought that was a good place. The other is just realistically, the time I moved into education, opportunities for women were still pretty limited. And so you kind of thought about where there's a really good opportunity as well in terms of a profession. And so it's just a lot of different things. But I think the thing that probably is most impactful was my grandmother. And she was a teacher. She came to New Mexico shortly after statehood. And just kind of instill the love of learning and the importance of education and teaching. And so I would say that's really the primary reason that I got into education.
And what were your early days in education like? Were you a teacher first and then an administrator? Or
Yes, I was a teacher first. And my first job was at Mayfield High School in Las Cruces. And while I had gone to the University of New Mexico, my husband was pursuing an engineering degree at New Mexico State. He was coming out of the military, and so we moved to Las Cruces, and so that was my first job was Mayfield High School, and I had just turned 20. And so I was pretty young to take on high school.
Yeah, teaching kids your own age almost.
But it was a wonderful experience there, and I'm grateful that I had that opportunity. So I taught at Mayfield, and then when my husband graduated, we moved to the Houston area.
Oh, okay.
And then I taught at Deer Park High School, which was outside of Houston.
Okay.
And I remained in classroom for several years, which I think is so important. I think if you're going to be in education, you need that classroom experience.
Right.
And then after that, I moved into administration.
And then when did you come back to New Mexico?
I came back to New Mexico in 1994. My first day on the job was February 1st. Mm-hmm. And so we have just hit that 30-year milestone. Okay. And it was quite an interesting first day. I was not actually an employee of Rio Rancho Public Schools, but Hamas. Okay. And the district did not officially begin until July 1. So I worked getting ready to open the district from February to July 1. And July 1 was the first official date. And we met at Martin Luther King Elementary, and the community gathered there. Okay. To see the first school bus roll in that said Rio Rancho Public Schools on it.
So the district is approaching its 30th anniversary.
We are. We're getting ready to start our 30th anniversary.
That's amazing.
And we're excited about doing that. On that first day, we had Alice King, First Lady, speak, and we had Bill Richardson speak.
Oh, wow.
And it was a wonderful event. So we are coming up on that 30th on July
All right.
1st.
Okay, keep us posted of any celebrations you might have in mind.
Yeah, we're working on that because we think we've come a long way in 30 years, and the community should celebrate that and be proud of it. And one of the reasons we've been so successful, of course, has been the community and their support of us over that time.
Okay. Well, you alluded to it when you introduced yourself, your tenure as superintendent. Pretty unusual. I know APS just named their new superintendent, and they've been through several during your time at Rio Rancho. So what do you attribute that longevity to?
Well, I think actually they've had 11, but and they've all been nice people. I've enjoyed knowing all of them. I think it was just a very different situation. You know, when you come in and you start things and you pull that initial team together, and it's not a situation that's easily replicated because the conditions around it aren't there.
Yeah.
But it has, I think our strong relationship with the community is one of those reasons, and just a strong commitment from the people who started the district, board members, community members, staff members. I think that we've been a pretty cohesive unit for a long time, and I think that it's the team that I think has kept us all together.
Okay. What's it like, and what did it take to build a district from the ground up?
It's. I think you just have to have a basic sense of optimism. And like I said, if you get the right team, you can do anything. But it was daunting at first. And I've shared with folks my first day on the job, there was a table. There was a file cabinet that didn't work. Intel had loaned us a computer, and Rio Rancho Printing had loaned us a copier fax. And we had a map of the district on the wall. And we were in a condemned building. And the first day, I kind of wondered whether I had made a good career choice. But one of the two interims that were there both said to me, when you get out in the school and you meet the people in the community, you're going to know that it's going to be fine. And that was exactly how it was. We knew it was going to be fine. And so it's just a long-term commitment. And I think, everybody in the community said we worked so hard. They worked 10 years before I showed up to get the district created.
Oh, wow.
And when people put that much time and effort and love into trying to get something going, they were there to help. And so in those early years, as people stepped forward when we needed assistance, over the years, the community has passed every bond issue. Mm-hmm. We just celebrated Terry McDermott going into the Hall of Honor with one of our teachers. That teacher helped us start the district, right. And Terry helped us pass bond issues. And when you can pass a bond issue with the 90%, which we did a couple of times, the community is behind you. So I think it's a lot of things, but I think the fundamental of just it goes down to relationships and positive partnerships, because we certainly didn't do it alone. And the city helped, the county helped, the community helped. And it's being able to keep those people, those groups together that's enabled us to be successful. So, and just a lot of hard work. I mean, just willing to work hard. But it's having, I just can't emphasize enough over the years, it's having the team. And you know that. A team is everything. Yeah. And we've just been blessed with good people. As you know, we don't have, we're always toward the bottom in terms of the per pupil allocations we get from the state. So our strength has been our people that have been able to, just make everything work, every penny count, and move the district forward.
Okay. And, Rio Rancho Public Schools has a strong reputation and maintained it. I know when my family was looking at moving to the area, we kept hearing, oh, you've got a school-age kid, you want to be in Rio Rancho, they've got great schools. So, I mean, how did it get that reputation, and how does the district maintain it?
parents are very astute about what they want and expect for their children. And so I think they are consumers of the product that we have to offer them. And so you have to provide something good or they won't come. And in those early years, truly, we were an unknown quantity. Nobody knew what was going to happen out in Rio Rancho. And some people didn't think we would make it. I mean, there were just a lot of challenges, and we just were determined that we were going to. But I remember one really key person in the community saying to me, when you start the district, you better have some key wins right away. You better start showing folks right away that there's good things that are happening for their children. And I think we focused on trying very early to start building that foundation. The other is we really strongly believe most parents want a well-rounded education. So we have, I believe, I'm a little bit biased, but we just have earned the recognition of the best community for fine arts in New Mexico from a national group, and providing fine arts, providing athletics, providing that well-rounded education for kids. And we stepped up and were competitive in those areas very quickly.
Yeah.
So I think it's a combination of a lot of things. The second part is the part that I think is the most challenging for us. Is how do we maintain it, and how do we keep growing and going forward? And we've had a lot of challenges the last few years, whether it's COVID or whether it's other things. Teacher shortage was probably the most difficult challenge because there's nothing that you give a student that's better than a highly qualified teacher. All these other things are important. A teacher's the most important thing. And we were having a hard time finding good teachers. We were, having a very difficult time finding people to put in any of our positions. And so we're beginning to see that turn around. Okay. Our applicant pool is getting stronger again. We're working hard to recruit and retain staff as they come in. But no matter what you do, if you don't have a solid core of teachers to work in your schools, you're at a tremendous disadvantage. And so that has been one of the greater challenges, is finding people. We used to have, for every teaching position, anywhere from 5 to 10 applicants. And we were getting down to the point where we were lucky if we could find 1 or 2. Oh, wow. So the teacher shortage, and that's not just New Mexico, as you know, that's nationally. But with improved compensation and with some other things that have been in the last couple of years, we are definitely seeing that turnaround, and we're very excited about that. The other is what all good organizations struggle with. All of them is getting complacent.
Yeah.
We're doing a good job, and so, we maybe don't have to be as assertive, maybe not worried as much. And you start sliding into that complacency. It's not a good thing.
Right.
And so we continue to have those conversations about looking critically at everything we do and continuous improvement and all of that, but not patting ourselves on the back too much, because we still have a lot of challenges that we are facing.
Right.
And we are not meeting the needs of every child at the level that we want to and that we think we need to, but we're sure working hard on it.
All right. You touched on COVID, and that obviously was an unprecedented time in every way, but really, how did it impact schools and the students and the teachers, and how did you come back from that?
We're still coming back from that. To be really honest, we're still coming back from that. I don't think we ever dreamed that we would have the negative impact that we have experienced from COVID. And it just, nobody knew what the outcomes were going to be. For the first time, I think we would often sit and talk as a leadership team about what to do, because we didn't always even know what to do. Yeah. It was unprecedented. We didn't have we know this is the best practice for this, or and we began to look at what we thought would be the best thing for students. For example, We kept our K through 3 elementary schools open all through COVID.
Oh, wow.
Because we knew how important it was in those early years. We couldn't do 4 and 5 because we didn't have the room with the required distancing, that was
Right.
expected. But we used every inch of space to keep those youngest children in school. But even with that, there was tremendous impact on their performance and their learning. And so and we've had students that come back, and it was really very clear they'd had very little adult supervision during that time. And and that's not being critical of parents. There's just some parents that had to go to work. I mean,
Right.
they had to put food on the table, and
Yeah.
they had their own challenges. But the overall experience for most students, wasn't good. We had a small group of students that did really well with it. They really did, and they had maybe more supports, or maybe they had more of a desire to work virtually. And so for some, they did really well, but the majority of our students did not, and they came back further behind than we thought they were going to. So we now have put in a lot of things in place to try to get caught up, and it's not just all academic. It's the conversation about, we really need you in school.
Yeah.
You need to be there. Yes, you can do work virtually, but you don't interact with the teacher in the same way.
Experience. Yeah.
You don't hear other students' views and opinions. You don't get to work as a team easily with other students. Yes, you can do it, virtually.
Yeah.
It's not the same.
Yeah. I mean,
But you've got to come back to school, and we need you back to, and we want you back there.
yeah.
And so putting in some things that maybe some folks thought were kind of tough, but we have seen that begin to turn around, and we've seen students come back attending classes on time and coming regularly, but we still are working through the problems that many of our students have, both academically and social emotional challenges. So we're not there yet, but we're moving in the right direction, we think.
Okay. Yeah, and that was one of the things I wanted to ask about. Was I know at the beginning of the school year, you and some of the other administrators came in and spoke with me and some people at the Journal about these new attendance and behavior policies. Are those working? Are you seeing results from that?
We are attendance. We have seen remarkable improvement, and we're really glad to see more students coming back to school regularly. We still have some that are not, and so we continue to work with their families. And I can share what one of our elementaries did, and I thought was really good. I mean, they brought the parents in, and they talked with the parents, and especially those children were out a lot. And it showed them what they were missing, and showed them why, being at home, they were not getting the things that the other children in the classroom were getting, and why they thought that was important. And that seemed to really play well with some parents. But there are still others who just still don't really feel that it's important their child go to school regularly. And we're continuing to have those conversations with those families, and trying to work with them. And we have social workers and attendance folks who are, saying if there are things that are happening in your family that are keeping you from being able to get your children to school, we'd like to help with that.
Right.
And we put a person in every middle school to work strictly with attendance and with families, and we've increased our counselors and our social workers. And just trying, it is important for your children to be in school. It really is. Behavior, I think it's going in the right direction. It's we haven't seen as much improvement quickly as we did with just the attendance alone. But our principals tell me that it's getting better, and it's. I think the thing that has been most amazing to them and to the teachers has just been the anger that came out of COVID. The anger, and so responses that. You just know that person's not in a really good place, and refusing to to identify yourself or refusing to cooperate on things usually makes the situation so much worse. So we continue to try to work with that. So behavior is going the right direction, and we have seen some improvement there, but we've got a ways to go.
Okay. And then recently there's been some talk in the community about the possibility of a third high school in the district's future.
Yeah.
What does that look like? How far down the road is that?
It's a long way down the road.
It's a long way.
High schools are very expensive. We were so lucky, as you know, that through a cooperative arrangement with the county and the school district to have Intel build our first high school.
Right.
The second high school, we struggled to get it up, and Governor Richardson at the time was able to work with us and give us some significant dollars to finish that high school. High schools are very expensive to build. And so right now our bond issues are taken up with our CT initiative,
Right.
which will provide some relief for our high schools,
Yeah.
and taking care of some of the facilities that we have. I would envision it's down the road, so I won't see it, I am sure, but maybe the district and the community will think of a third high school in a different way. Yeah. We have two wonderful comprehensives, but maybe it will be more of a theme-based high school. When we were out looking at schools for Cleveland, we saw a couple, one I remember in Michigan, and each pod was a different theme and linked to future careers. Mm-hmm. And so one was a section for the health professions, and one was for engineering and mathematics. And maybe the third high school will look different in the sense that there are families that maybe want a different type of education for their children. But it may not. I mean, it will come down to, in that area where that third high school will be located, and we do have the land for it, it will be up to that community at that point in time to decide whether they want another big comprehensive, or whether they want maybe some smaller specialty high schools that might offer another choice. And today we live in a world of choice. Yeah. Every school is a school of choice today, including traditional public schools. They're a choice as well. And so maybe looking at some different things. The others is very close to the C&M West Side campus, literally kind of over the fence, not too far away. And that would also offer some opportunities as well. But it will come down to what the community wants. And they might want another comprehensive, and they might not.
Okay. And then you touched on it, the CTE program. For those who might not be familiar with such a program, can you briefly explain what it does or intends to do?
Now, we're very excited about our new CTE program. We purchased a building that had been originally a computer facility, and then had transitioned into Alliance Data. And it's a very large building, and what we hope to house there are the skilled trades and technology. So if you are interested in being an HVAC technician, you would get a head start on getting the certificates and perhaps an associate's degree in HVAC. And we're working on that project collaboratively with C&M. They have played a role in the whole organization structure of it, and they will be providing instructors. And the whole goal is not the traditional elective for perhaps woodshop, though there's nothing wrong with that. That's a wonderful program. But the emphasis in this building will be more certificates and getting students ready for the workforce.
Career-oriented.
Right. And it will be like welding and HVAC and in the technical area, like CIS, computer certifications, A+, those kinds of things. And then also part of it would be digital media. And it's just an opportunity for students to start taking classes that will get them a certificate or get them well on their way to an associate's degree in high school, and hopefully in the areas that they are interested in. We are doing only the skilled trades and the CIS and the digital media. C&M plans to build a building adjacent to on that same site, and to put in automotive and possibly diesel. And the whole focus on the automotive would be electric vehicles, EV technology. And we, are excited about that being a state-of-the-art facility, but looking at automotive science very differently than in the past. But everything is changing, as we know.
I've been saying for years that, we're not going to need so much mechanics to work on our cars anymore as so much as computer engineers.
That's exactly right. And so we want to be, we're very lucky. We have Chalmers Ford in our district, and Ford Motor Company is putting a big investment in electric vehicles. And then right outside of Rio Rancho, right on the corner, literally, is Tesla.
Yeah.
And so we think that is definitely one of the options for the future. And we want to give students an opportunity to move into that new industry as well. So we're excited about offering students another option. And we still want to maintain our strong college programs for those who have a more traditional thought about going into the professions. But there are so many wonderful opportunities out there. And right now, one of the big challenges for New Mexico in terms of economic development is we lack the skilled trades people that we need. And we're not going to be able to bring companies here until we build that workforce back up. And during COVID, and even before COVID, during the Great Recession, we saw a lot of our skilled tradesmen in New Mexico leave and didn't come back. And so we have an aging workforce of men and women in the skilled trades. I was shown some data that the average surveyor was age 65.
Oh, wow.
And nobody behind them really to take over those positions. So, whether it's plumbing or whatever, that goal of rebuilding that. And so we've worked closely with our skilled trades unions and with our businesses and organizations like NAOP and others to try to start getting students who have an interest in it. We're also going to open that facility to adults.
Oh.
And so adults can also access those courses, not only in the evening, but during the day. So if people are wanting to retool or get their skills.
My husband's been talking about doing something like that. So that might be an opportunity for him.
Be wonderful. My neighbor works out at the Air Force lab out on the base at Kirtland, and he's taught courses for C&M in the computer science area, and he's really excited because now he can teach some of those courses in Rio Rancho, not having to drive downtown or whatever. But it's just another. It's not it won't solve all the problems in the world, but it certainly opens the doors for those folks who might be interested in the trades. They pay well.
Yeah.
A lot of opportunities, a lot of opportunity for growth.
And again, might give those non-traditional learners a sense of community and incentive to show up for school, and could impact the attendance too, right?
Right.
Okay. Right. And then the last question I have on my list is kind of a broader one. Is just kind of what are the biggest changes you've seen in education over the years, and what are the biggest challenges still there?
I think the biggest changes and challenge goes together. So let me kind of address it, and then maybe a couple of other thoughts. It's all the additional things that public schools have been asked to do. And they're good things. They're not things that you would say, oh, they're not good things. We don't want to do that. The more and more we take on things other than the teaching and learning piece, the less time and energy we have to dedicate to our main mission. And so you take the list of things that schools have been assigned to do over the last 30 years. It just grows and grows and grows. And there's just a lot of frustration with, particularly among our staff. I don't have the time that I need to teach. I struggled with a lot of the additional things. And it's not that they wouldn't do them or don't want to do them. It's the time factor and concern that some of those things are drawing away from their ability to teach in the classroom. So I don't know what the answer is. You have needs in the community, turns to the school district to try to do those things, and we try to do those things. But then sometimes don't understand why we don't have the time and energy to do the main mission as well as we need to do it.
Yeah.
So that, I think, has been the challenge. I think there's also been a difference of opinion among parents and staff about where the roles end and what are the job and the responsibilities we really need parents to do. And we want parents to be parents. We don't want to be parents to their children,
right.
But we want to support parents and we want to support their families. And so sometimes that responsibility of who is responsible for things sometimes comes up and causes conflict between our parents and our staff. But we're generally able to work it through. But the whole I think the saddest thing that we have dealt with has been maybe not the level of respect that sometimes I think our teachers deserve and don't always get. And they work hard, and I think that, that, and I don't think we're unique in that, not even, I mean, I'm close. I mean, I serve on a couple of boards for Presbyterian and, hear that conversation about just civility and respect among ourselves. And you hear it with law enforcement, you hear it with, and so that sense of building community and treating each other well. And I think COVID put a huge dent in that. And I think we're trying to build that back up because we really value our parents. And we know they are our greatest ally and partner in this field of education. And so we try very hard to build those relationships with parents. And we have a great parent council that Beth Pendergrass organizes, and we find them to just really be motivated to provide the best education they can for their children, and they want to be involved and they want to help. So the one thing I think that is most challenging for us is we've come a long way in 30 years. We made a lot of progress. We're very proud of our district. But we still need you.
Yeah.
We still need your help and your support and your involvement.
Right.
And it matters. It matters to everyone, to the children and to us. And that sense of partnership and working together, we still need that. And I think as we became more and more successful and more established, I think sometimes people in the community thought, well, you don't need that support as much as you used to. And it's the exact opposite. And as times have become more difficult for children, that sense of working together is more important than ever. And especially as we're dealing with social emotional issues with our kids.
Yeah. Yeah, they have a whole different world than even I grew up in.
It is, absolutely, yeah.
So.
And we just look back, 30 years ago, how different it was. But you're exactly right, 10 years ago, how very different. It's just, we've just got to continue to work to build that sense of community and that we're all in this together. And we are.
Yeah, great. That's all I had for you. Is there anything else you want to add on to this conversation?
No, I think you've done a wonderful job. You've asked me an awful lot of questions, and I would just say we are proud of our school district, and we are really focused on maintaining what we have built, and not squander that away,
right?
And continue to provide good opportunities for our students and families, and we're proud when people say they moved into Rio Rancho. to bring their children into our school district. I mean, that's a good thing for us, and we're proud of that. We always want it to be that way.
Yeah.
So
it worked
we
for
encourage
us.
that involvement. Oh yeah, we encourage that, and we're glad. I think one of the other things that is it's just the complexity of children's needs that are greater than we've ever seen. And particularly among our children with disabilities, we have certainly seen more children that have some really challenging disabilities that are hard to meet. But we welcome every child, and we welcome every family.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for coming in and
right.
talking some of the stuff over. It's been fun, and I appreciate your time, Dr. Cleveland.
Yeah, it's great. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, everybody. That does it for today. Thank you so much for joining us and watching or listening, and we'll see you soon. Thank you.